Hey, Governor.
Hey, you guys. How are you? How are you? Nice to meet you. Sorry for the distraction, Abby. Still in my office, but.
Welcome home, Governor.
Hey,
Welcome
thank
back
you
to
so much.
Alaska.
It's good to be here. Yeah, good to be here.
How does it feel to be back?
It feels great. A lot to do. As every day is a full day here in the governor's office. So anxious to get to talk to the folks who have been holding down the fort and working real hard also. But it's going to be busy days here, just like it was busy days on the trail, being the governor the full time, in addition to being a candidate. Now, of course, we get to concentrate just on one of those.
What's first on your agenda?
Working with the gas line team, making sure that things are progressing the way that that they should in order to start supplying the U.S. with more natural gas when that final section of pipe is laid, and that's still years off, but there's a lot of work to make sure that that happens between now and then. And then, of course, we're in the midst of our budget, putting it all together and looking at the price of oil today being so low that it's a good time for our fiscal conservatism to be kicked in full-fledged and remind Alaskans we cannot be spending at the rate that the state has been spending. And you couple that with the changes on the federal scene also in terms of the dollars coming into the state, perhaps not at such a generous rate as they had been, and Alaskans, we have to make sure that we are being prudent with other people's monies, and that we are being fiscally conservative. So, middle of the debate of budget, and it's going to be good putting all of that together.
How difficult were these last couple of days, hearing some of the, rumors coming out of the McCain camp?
Well, it's ridiculous because you guys report based on anonymous sources, so it's hard to have a defense. John McCain and I just spoke a couple of hours ago about this. He too saying, as long as reporters will choose to, nowadays, as it doesn't seem like it had been practiced in the past, but nowadays report based on false allegations coming from anonymous sources, it's kind of impossible to respond to false allegations. But I know that there was nothing done wrong in the campaign, that John McCain and I have a great relationship. I honor him, I love him. I still wish that he were the president-elect. And in that context, it's frustrating to know that the media chooses to not correct the record when we're trying to set the record straight on any kind of hard feelings or negativity in the campaign and inside baseball type of issues in a campaign. You guys make it difficult.
Well, are you angry about this, that people were so disloyal to say things and to do it without putting their name?
Who's they, though? I don't know who they are, so it's tough to respond to.
You can respond.
But we know that, for instance, with the whole clothes issue, the RNC purchased clothes. Those are the RNC's clothes. They're not my clothes. I never forced anybody to buy anything. I never asked for anything more than maybe a Diet Dr. Pepper once in a while. I never have asked for anything. These are Sarah Palin's clothes. We don't take anything with us. So until that's cleared up by you guys doing your job, what else can I say? What else can John McCain say about all of this, except these are false allegations?
Does the RNC have lawyers coming up to look at the clothes or inventory the stuff?
The RNC is not, they're not coming up. Nobody's coming up to look at anything. There is an inventory of clothes being done so that the RNC is held accountable for all the dollars that were spent, but who said that attorneys were coming up to my house to pick up clothes?
I would think the New York Times reported that, or the LA
New York
Times.
Times evidently is wrong because it's not happening. Nobody's told me that they're coming to my house to look through closets, to look through anything. The belly of the plane that had clothes in it, and those clothes being packed up and sent back by staffers, maybe perhaps that's what they're talking about, but these aren't attorneys.
Governor, are you, to put it in a blunt word, are you PO'd by all this?
Not PO'd by it. It's just very, very disappointing because this is Barack Obama's time right now. And this is an historic moment in our nation. And this can be a shining moment for America in our history. And look what we're talking about. Again, we're talking about my shoes and belts and skirts. And this is ridiculous. Let's talk about progressing this nation. And for me, I want to start talking about progressing the state of Alaska and the good things that are in store for this state. As we ramp up production of our resources in order to feed hungry U.S. markets, allowing us to become energy independent, Alaska needs to be the leader on energy policy in this nation. Look forward to reaching out to Barack Obama and his new administration that he'll usher in and have a good mutually beneficial relationship with the feds on this issue. There's a lot in store that is good for this nation that Alaska will be able to contribute. That's what we should be talking about.
What's your future in national politics, Governor?
I don't know. My concentration is going to be on serving the good people of Alaska who have hired me. That's who I'm accountable to. And, I'll continue to participate in the Republican Governors Association and National Governors Association. I'm the chair of the natural resources there. So there'll be on a national scene some obligations that I had already been a part of. We'll continue in that vein. But again, my participation on a national level it will all have to do with what it is that Alaska needs and how Alaska can progress and contribute more to the U.S.
Do you think a vice presidential presidents will run in 2012 in your future?
I don't know. I don't know.
There's no question that people did not put their names forward. And I think a lot of Americans consider that cowardly. There's no question
Yeah,
about it.
I do. I consider it cowardly.
So, but regarding these allegations, which I don't think, my colleagues didn't make it up, they heard it from people who said you can't use our name, regarding these geography things about Africa and about NAFTA. Are they not true, or are they misinterpreted?
No, it's not true. And I do remember having a discussion about NAFTA as we talked about Alaska's relationship with Canada and how heaven forbid, we go in and just unilaterally think that we're going to renegotiate NAFTA, as it had appeared that Barack Obama, his position was, he wanted to go renegotiate. I remember having a discussion with a couple of debate preppers. So if it came from one of those debate preppers, that's curious, but having a discussion about NAFTA, not, oh my goodness, I don't know who's a part of NAFTA. So no, I think that if there are allegations based on questions or comments that I made in debate prep about NAFTA and about the continent versus the country, when we talk about Africa there, then those were taken out of context. And that's cruel, it's mean-spirited, it's immature, it's unprofessional, and those guys are jerks if they came away with it, taking things out of context and then tried to spread something on national news that's not fair and not right.
You talked to John McCain today. Did he say that he was going to talk to staff and tell them to cut the stuff out? Or?
He has been doing that in the last couple of days, and I don't know if anything's shifted or not there after his discussion. But John McCain too he's disappointed because he too knows that he, now coming back in his role as a U.S. Senator, he's got a lot of work to do also, and a great amount of contribution that he's going to be able to make to this nation with his experience, with all that he has to offer. We're going to be looking to John McCain as a nation, not just as in any kind of partisanship here, but as a nation, we're going to be looking to John McCain for leadership also. So he wants to put this chapter to rest, get to move on without having to deal with, again, sort of the irrelevant, certainly immature and ridiculousness of false allegations.
Governor, you said the other day that the rumors of you going rogue were partly you trying to call reporters. Did you feel muzzled by the McCain campaign? And who made that decision to kind of keep you from doing interviews?
Well, I don't mind at all doing interviews. Let me just leave it at that I know that the media has such a great part in our democracy of allowing the checks and balances. The media is a cornerstone of our democracy, and heaven forbid that a candidate or an elected official shy away from speaking to the media.
Well,
so it was a little bit of a frustration that I didn't get to call more of those shots, and I guess that was sort of the rogue criticism, was she wants to talk to more of the media than perhaps some in the campaign wanted me to, and I just always felt like it's certainly not a waste of time to talk to reporters. In fact, it's good for the campaign, it's good for messaging, obviously, and for me, being able to talk to you here in Alaska, I mean, it's my job, so I want to be able to talk to you.
Did you feel like it showed a lack of faith from the campaign?
Not a lack of faith, just different type of strategy, I guess. And they're coming from on a national level, different perspective perhaps than I have in terms of how important it is that we talk to local media. I think it's extremely important that local media is that kind of that intercession, is the connection between the people and that elected official. Local media counts too. So just a little bit of difference in strategy.
Do you think the Katie Couric interview was a turning point in the campaign And did you prep for that interview?
Oh, certainly, we prep for all of our interviews in terms of, you know, understanding what the message of the day was that was coming from John McCain, or, you know, the point that he would want to make sure that the campaign was articulating, because daily issues did change and the message as needed to be relayed to the public would shift a little bit. So, yeah, there was always prep for every interview.